Hi there, this is a video for any business owner or business manager who's worried about IT security in June 2021 and think about what they should do. It's non-technical, it's for people who just want to speak simple English. So let's crack on. Okay, so what have I got here? Strange analogy? Well, maybe not so strange. When the railways first invented, they used to put a man walking along in front of an engine and waving a flag. That was the first time they ever had health and safety on the railways. And then they had to put them on a horse because the engines got faster. And when they finally introduced signals, they basically set them up so that any train could go anywhere they liked unless there was a signal that said stop. And it took about 100 years before common sense kicked in. And they changed it so that unless the signal was up, you could go. If it was down by default, the default position, you had to stop. So many accidents happen because of bad signal problems. Sadly, 130 years after the first railways, they were still having massive accidents. And even 20 years ago, we had massive accidents. And humans are not very good at learning. They only seem to learn when tragic things happen and they change their behavior and do safer things. Now let's bring it up to today with IT. Security at the moment is being driven by regulators. So that's financial services or legal services or healthcare. And by proxy, it's being driven by insurers because the insurers won't give you insurance unless you demonstrate that you are doing everything that the regulations require you to do. And what are those things? And by the way, these are not things for just people in regulated industries. These are things that everybody should do. It's a bit like saying, you know, if there were seatbelts in your car back in the 70s, people wore them, not because the regulator told them they had to. They wore them because it was common sense. So let's look at this. There's 6 things here. At your own leisure, you can pause the video when you want and just look at each one. Think about, have I got this dealt with? Is it properly managed? Maybe talk to your IT provider, whoever that is, and say, have I got this sorted? If they don't give you a proper answer, come and talk to me and I'll tell you what the proper answer should be. But basically, they should give you something where you feel comfortable. Otherwise, they're not doing it properly. Okay, the latest threats to think about. Well, I originally wrote this as business process exploitation, but then I put the word human in front because it's all targeted around human behaviors. One example is somebody's mailbox gets hacked, the boss's mailbox gets hacked. A few weeks go by and then a request to the clerk, the admin clerk, please set up this new supplier. A few more weeks go by, please pay this supplier £27,000. I'm quoting this because very sadly, I know someone this happened to 5 years ago and the business went bust as a result because £27,000 is a lot of money for a business to lose. And you get other kinds of fraud. Staff apparently send an email to the HR department saying, I've checked a bank account, please, and next at the end of the month, the salary gets paid into the wrong bank account. You also get customer fraud, Amazon deliveries turning up for people who didn't think they'd ordered it. And a man from Amazon apparently knocks on the door and said, I've come to collect the parcel. Well, obviously they're not from Amazon. I mean, it's all exploiting human processes that hackers are figuring out. So what can you do? And what you can do is you can add extra systems that monitor your Office 365 network, that look for unusual behaviors, strange things that are not normal. And I know that sounds weird. It's not exactly artificial intelligence, but that is the only way you can deal with this. And there are tools to do it. So who's at risk? Well, solicitors are at risk because they transfer large amounts of money. Builders, architects, could be anyone. Wedding planners. If you're the organizer of a big project and all the money is going from the client to you and then from you out to the suppliers, you are at risk because you're a ripe target. So what can you do? Well, I would like you to either reflect on yourself. Am I in that category? Am I vulnerable? Do I have all these things in place? Or just tell people who are potentially vulnerable. Think through your friends, your colleagues, your work associates. If they fall into the category of vulnerable, tell them, make them watch the video, make them go through those points, 6 points, and make them talk to their IT provider. If they don't get the right answer, obviously talk to me and I'll help them. So it's a bit doom and gloom this month, but it's really, really serious. The security threats, they're endless. It's just news all the time. There we go. Gately suffers loss of client data in cyber attack. That's new this week. Every week there's another company, business suffering. Get your processes in order. If you're having trouble, talk to me.